Welcome to Forensic Friday, where I tell you one true crime case that was solved using forensic science, all while doing, that's right, my makeup. Today's video will be featuring the Alien Cosmetics and Capricorrn collaboration palette. Oh my god. All the other items I'm using in this video will be linked in the description below. Please read the disclaimer. I am not a professional makeup artist or a forensic pathologist. I'm just the average girl at home like you, planning makeup and talking about true crime. So if you love true crime and makeup, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my future episodes. Detective Lucy is in the house today and she is like hot. She's not happy. She's not happy. Let's put her down. Before we get started, I just have a little bit of an announcement. Is it an announcement? I don't even know. Basically, I need you guys' help. I entered a talent competition and they just announced that I am one of the top 14 finalists. I know, I never win so I don't know how that even happened. I haven't even won yet, look at me. I would be just over the moon if I could get you guys support to go over to that talent agency's Instagram page and tag me in the comment section. You can just say I'm voting for Zahara and then tag me, or you can say like my vote is for Zahara and tag me in it. You have to follow the page and then tag me in the comment section of that post. The competition ends on the 29th, so don't worry if you can just unfollow it later, okay? You guys know I love you guys. You're always so supportive to me anyways, and believe me, I see you. I see you. I see every single one of you out there that has been following me and have been supportive to me, and I really do appreciate it. And believe me when I say my blessings are your blessings, seriously. And that's pretty much all I have to say. Let's get into today's case. This all takes place in Omaha, Nebraska in 1978, where a young couple, his name was Bruce. Bruce and Sally lived with their infant son, Chad. His name was Chad. I know people are gonna kill me, like already making mistakes in the video. Sally worked for an insurance company and Bruce was a TV repairman. They spent a lot of time together as a family. They adored their son Chad and they just spent most of their time with him because he was just so cute and adorable, and obviously it's a newborn baby, so you know, they were just doting over him as much as they possibly could. Chad, their son, he was 11 months old and he was described as a very sweet, chunky, happy, healthy baby. You know, like the kind with the big cheeks that you just want to squish. That is how this kid looked. He was super adorable, beautiful, healthy baby. He was never sick ever. Sunday morning, September 10th, 1978, Bruce and Sally were cleaning up their home. They were like rearranging some things because they were getting prepared to purchase some new furniture. Now they did have a lot of money, well not a lot, but they had a significant amount of money, but they weren't like overspenders. They would, you know, purchase items slowly, and so they were planning to go shopping that afternoon and pick up 2 lamps and maybe a couch. They had cleaned their carpets, preparing to move in, you know, the new furniture, and they just had a full day of like errands and things to run. And they also had a birthday party that day, so they had a lot to do. I forgot to say that Sally and Bruce had been married for just 2 years. After they had finished running their errands, they then had a birthday party to attend, a family birthday party, so they headed on over to Sally's sister's place. After the birthday party, they stopped at a local fast food restaurant. It was like a Mexican restaurant, and they picked up some tacos. That sounds really good right now, actually, like really. Now, a couple of hours later, when they got home, little baby Chad got sick. He got super duper sick. I sound like Barney. Super duper. Can we even joke about him? Because I think he was like a predator. I don't even know. According to his parents, that night, little baby Chad started to experience some very severe symptoms. He was pale and lethargic, and they say that he had vomiting so bad that his entire body shook. Obviously, his parents decided to take him into the hospital because, like, They did not know what to do. They became so concerned. He was rushed to the Emmanuel Medical Center. According to one of the nurses that was on duty that day that took care of baby Chad, when they brought him in, he was bleeding from every hole in his body, if you know what I mean. Pretty much anywhere something could come out, like fluids could come out, he was bleeding. The nurse says she was terribly alarmed that he looked like he was literally dying right in front of her, and doctors started to order, you know, blood tests. Every single blood test that they could do on him, they started to do to test it out. According to them, Chad's platelet count was 19,000. Far below what it should have been. Normally it's 140,000, so yeah. He also had a blood sugar level of 11, which is a serious indication of liver failure. They say that blood was coming out of his nose, out of his mouth, out of his butt, out of every single area. There was like blood just seeping out of him. Earlier the next morning, Chad's heartbeat dropped to 46 beats per minute. Then it dropped even further. The doctors tried their best to revive him, but they had no success. 48 hours later, Chad Shelton died. Oddly enough, a few hours later, another patient was taken into the hospital with the same symptoms. It was a 25-year-old truck driver. So at this point, doctors are freaking out because they realize that the symptoms are the same, and they're thinking whatever killed little baby Sheldon is probably spreading, and they had no idea what was going on and what this thing was. The truck driver was 25-year-old Duane Johnson, and he had been painting his house when suddenly he felt sick. He had a headache, muscle pains, chills, diarrhea, like literally the same exact symptoms. Vomiting to the point where he was like almost convulsing. He also developed a severe nosebleed, which we know a little baby Chad had. That kind of rhymed. He had been taken to Emmanuel Hospital, the same exact hospital that Chad Sheldon had gone to. He started bleeding from every single little pore in his body, and a few hours later he died as well. Now this is where things get really spooky, because Chad's nurse was the one to discover that Duane Johnson and Chad were actually relatives. Duane Johnson was Chad's uncle. Medical experts were freaking out because they were like, oh my god, what is happening here? What the hell is killing these people? Like, what are the odds of any of that? They were just trying to figure out at this point if anybody else was gonna catch it. Shortly after that, they got more cases. Chad's parents, Sally and Bruce, were starting to experience some of the symptoms like vomiting. Chad's uncle, Duane Johnson's daughter, Sherry, she was also sick. So it's like an all in the family thing or what? Like, oh wow. These brows are giving me serious Lunette the Clown vibes. And I'm not even joking. Now, Sherry, Duane Johnson's daughter, was admitted to the hospital. All of the health experts got together for an emergency meeting because they were trying to figure out what this thing was that they were up against. So they called in the CDC, which stands for the Center of Disease Control in Atlanta, Georgia. Now the lead CDC toxicologist assigned on the case, she knew that whatever this was, that it was leaving no traces in the system. That whatever killed the two people did so without a trace and was only targeting the liver. As you can imagine, health officials were frantically searching for clues on what caused the deaths, and they went from it possibly being the shampoo used to clean the carpets in the Sheldon's home, to it being the tacos they picked up from the fast food restaurant. Chad's mother, Sally, had told police that the tacos didn't taste right, so they were thinking this could possibly be it. With Duane Johnson, in his case, he had been painting the exterior of his home, so they thought, could it have been the paint that he used on the house? They just wasn't really sure, and nothing was turning up any new leads at this point. During the health officials' investigation, they learned that Chad Shelton and Duane Johnson, mother and father, they had all been together one day earlier on that week. So they were all at a family function together. All the other people who had gotten sick were also at this family function with them. The health department came in, or the health investigators, I don't know what you call it, they came in and they took samples of everything. They took samples of the paint chippings from the, Duane Johnson's home. They took samples of the water. They took some of the filters that were in the home, that were in the ventilation system. And there was one filter missing from the air conditioner that was in the window that they've discovered. They found the filter. It was set underneath a tree that they used to roost birds. Health officials tested the soil for Hippoplasma castellatus. I think that's how you say it, but I probably am so wrong. This is a yeast-like substance that is caused by contaminated bird feces. They also found that lemonade had been served at the Johnson's family home, and everyone who drank the lemonade ended up sick, and the 3 people who did not drink the lemonade did not end up sick. But unfortunately, the lemonade pitcher had been washed, and obviously the lemonade gone. So they performed tests on the tap water. I don't know why people drinking tap water, but anyway, I'm not gonna get into that. They performed tests on the tap water, the lemonade mix to make the lemonade, as well as the sugar used to mix it. I believe it was like Koolaid lemonade, and I used to love me some Koolaid, so I don't know which one was my favorite flavor. I liked grape, but I also like the blue one, and I also like the cherry one. Oh, and the orange one was really good as well, so girl. Okay, I put too much. But all of their tests were negative, and the soil outside did not contain any of the fungus. Sherry, Duane's daughter, did survive the illness. She ended up getting a blood transfusion and was able to survive this deadly illness, but it left her with some serious liver damage. The doctors say that they'd never seen such damage to liver tissue before. This doctor, she went back to the basics, and she got her medical textbooks out and started to look through them. She came across a photograph that looked surprisingly similar. It was the liver tissue of a person who had been poisoned with a cancer-causing agent. It was called dimethylmide trosamine, or DMN. DMN is a cancer-causing agent that is given to lab rats or other animals in cancer research centers. This agent is highly toxic and only affects the liver. It would also leave no trace in an autopsy report, which explains everything except for who did it. The lead doctor now expected foul play. She told the investigators to look for some connection between the family and someone who may have worked in a cancer research center. Well, do you guys see this? We're not playing that to... Oh, I just spilled that all over my yoga pants. Jesus Louises. She suspected that Chad Shelton and Duane Johnson had been murdered. Because of the fact that whoever drank the lemonade did experience symptoms, they came to the conclusion that that lemonade must have been poisoned. So investigators started to question the remaining family members, asking if they knew of anyone who may have had a grudge against the family, and they all said no. But the lead investigator on the case had a hunch, and he started to search the computer database system for Duane Johnson. And he made a shocking discovery. 3 years earlier, when Duane Johnson and Sandy Johnson had been newlyweds, there was an altercation outside of their home. There was an armed assailant with a gun. Sandy's brother had been shot in the shoulder. The assailant also shot through one of the front windows. Come to find out, the shooter was an old boyfriend of Sandy's who was angry at Duane for stealing his girlfriend. His name was Stephen Roy Parker. Stephen had met Sandy in high school. Sandy was this popular, pretty girl, beautiful blonde, blue eyes, you know, just one of those popular chicks that all the guys wanted. And Stephen, he was actually one of the quiet, shy types. He didn't really have many girlfriends. Actually, he didn't talk to any girls at all. Like, he never dated any girls. He had been in a fire earlier on in his life, in his childhood, and he had developed these scars. He had a lot of scars from the fire, and he had a lot of mental and emotional issues as well, or scars as well, from that fire. So Sandy was his first girlfriend, and she was his only girlfriend. It was like his one and only true love. So you can only imagine what this did to him when they ended up breaking up, and she goes off and she gets married and have this beautiful family with another man. Like, he literally spent his life for her. Now, Stephen was an honor student. He was the loner type, and he wanted to be a veterinarian, which is really kind of cute because, like, dorky a little bit. So after the attack in 1975, Stephen was arrested and pleaded no contest to the shooting. He was sentenced to up to 5 years in the state penitentiary. However, while investigating, they found that he actually only ended up serving 1 year in prison. After Stephen was released from prison, he took a job as a lab technician at the Epley Cancer Institute. Well, I guess that's your connection there, buddy. Now it's time to go into the palette. But anyway, back to the story. A month before Chad and Duane Johnson died, Stephen's veterinarian said that he treated Stephen's dog and another one of his animals, and they all had symptoms of bleeding from, like, different holes, you know what I mean, different areas, and they both ended up dying. I think homeboy was practicing. That's what he was doing. Who the hell practices on their own pets? Like, that shit's crazy to me. So police were thinking, this is our boy, this is our something's in my throat. Investigators had a ton of circumstantial evidence linking Stephen to the cases. However, they had no scientific evidence. The other problem they had is that DMN is untraceable. So once it's ingested, within hours, it disappears from the system. They had no actual evidence that the victims had died from this. That means that there was no murder weapon. So they had a ton of theories, you know, and circumstantial evidence, but no actual scientific evidence to prove any of it. That was pretty much where they were. They had to somehow prove that the DMN had been there in the first place in the patients, to prove that, you know, he could have planted it. They couldn't even prove that it was in the body. So they contacted this scientist in California, here in California, in Irvine. He had been studying DMN for a really long time and how it altered the DNA. So he was a lot more familiar with the agent than they were. The lead scientist on the case had come up with some sort of formula that he was using, but he had only used it to test on animals. He had never used his, you know, his idea on humans. So they pretty much asked him if he would do something he's never done before and try his idea on human. They sent 8 coded samples of liver and kidney tissue in order to conduct a blind test. Now, one of the samples belonged to Duane Johnson, although the scientists had no idea which one. They used high-performance liquid chromatography, which separated various components of the DNA, and the computer charted those components visualized on the graph. Now, the DNA from 7 of the 8 samples was completely normal. One of the DNA samples had liver that gave them 2 extra peaks in the liquid chromatography. Those samples were identical to someone that would have been exposed exposed to DMN. That liver sample belonged to Duane Johnson. So essentially proving that without a reasonable doubt that this substance was the substance used. So now science had provided the murder weapon. Other evidence would show Stephen's deranged mindset and motive. After Stephen had been released from prison in 1975, he would go on to send Sandy all these pictures of Sandy in this, like, looking like a demon. I don't know what he was thinking, but pretty much he drew these images of Sandy as a witch. Now, initially, Sandy could not believe that Stephen, her ex-boyfriend, was capable of murder whatsoever. Because remember, when she met him, they were in high school and he was this shy, quiet type. Although in 1975, he did show up with a rifle and shoot your brother in the shoulder and the window out. So I don't know. So police was thinking this is the reason why she initially did not identify him as a possible suspect, just because she didn't think that he was even on the radar, that he could possibly that he would murder someone. Like, the whole situation is kind of hard to believe in the first place, you know? There's actually a book written about this, you guys, about Sandy and Stephen's love. It's called Toxic Love. Just in case you guys are like interested in, if you guys like novels, you can pick that one up. It's funny because Sandy initially painted Stephen as like a very good boyfriend, a very loving boyfriend, a very peaceful boyfriend is what she told police, but homeboy was showing up to her home with rifles. Like, after Stephen had gotten out of prison and he accepted that job at the Cancer Institute, this is where they believed he learned about the drug DMN and how to use it. Y'all, tell me why I look like Robin from the 1990, what is it, 6, 7, I don't even know, to the 1990s Batman movies. Now, according to some of the professors at the institute where Stephen was working, there was at some point an ad posted from a newspaper on the bulletin board where Stephen worked, describing how a German chemist killed his wife by putting DMN in her marmalade. So this is where they believe he got the original idea to use DMN. Oh, what? Okay, we gotta figure this out. So investigators believe that Stephen had confiscated the DMN from a locked freezer that was in the lab and experimented at home on his animals to find the correct dosage. Why didn't he just try it on the lab rats instead of his own pets at home? I don't know. Or why did he steal a lab rat to try? I don't know. It's all so bad, it doesn't matter which way you look at it. Now, they found that Stephen had confided to a friend that he had broken into Sandy and Duane's home on Thursday night while no one was there. And he poured the DMN in a pitcher of lemonade that he had found in the refrigerator. Like, why are you gonna go tell on yourself, dude? If you're gonna do it, don't tell nobody. Like, now, the following afternoon, the Johnsons, the Sheldons, and the grandparents all got together for what would be pretty much their last family get-together. Now, Duane had been painting outside, as we know. He had had 2 large glasses of this lemonade. 11-month-old little Chad had had some lemonade as well in his cup. The grandparents didn't have any of the lemonade because they decided to drink coffee. Bruce had some of the lemonade. Sally had a little bit of the lemonade. Sandy, however, did not drink any of the lemonade because she didn't like lemonade. Isn't that crazy? How you gonna call yourself her ex-boyfriend, try to poison her with lemonade, and you don't even know that she don't like lemonade? Okay, sir. The presumed target of the poisoning was Sandy. At least that's what police thought. And she was the one who doesn't even like lemonade. Shazam, Galactica. Duane Johnson died because he ingested 2 full glasses of the lemonade, more than any of the other people that drank the lemonade. Little baby Chad died just because he was so small and his body literally could not take any amount of that type of poisoning. Thanks to forensic science and some good police work, Stephen Harper was convicted of 2 counts of first-degree murder and 3 counts of poisoning with intent to kill. He was sentenced to death by the electric chair. But that would never happen because Stephen Harper committed suicide in his cell. Now, although Stephen Johnson is dead, his plot to kill by cancer may still be in effect on the victims who ingested the lemonade. Sherry Johnson was just 2 years old when she ingested the DMN. And although a blood infusion did save her life, she to this day suffers chronic liver problems. Oh, so terrible. Now, Bruce Sheldon, he was so distraught over the murder of his son, Chad. He was also very consumed by the fear that he too would die of cancer, that he ended up going into a depression, becoming an alcoholic, and losing his job, thus leaving him homeless on the street, and he eventually passed away that way. He was just 38 years old. They buried him next to his son, Chad. Sally, his wife, did end up remarrying, but she refused to have any more children because of the fear of cancer. What did you guys think about this case and my makeup look? Please let me know in the comments down below. If you like videos like these, check out my last episode. It'll be linked on the screen right here or right here. Don't forget to vote for me on Instagram. I'll leave all of the information in the description below, and I'll see you guys next Friday with another Forensic Friday episode. Bye.